In this lesson, we're going to continue our study of multiplication, and more specifically, continue working with the distributive grid method. And this time, we'll see it in a couple of word problems. And here are the standards that will be featured in this video. We'll be looking at this worksheet. You can go to worksheetsandwalkthroughs.com to print out a copy for yourself. You can find it under our multiplication videos section, and it's entitled the Distributive Grid Method Word Problems. And we have 2 problems, and here are the directions. Solve the following using the Distributive Grid Method. Let's take a look at number 1. Here it is, number 1. Tabitha texts an average of 927 words per day. How many words does she text in 1 year? So let's take a look at this story problem and kind of tease out the math information. So here we go, sentence by sentence. Tabitha texts an average of 927 words per day. So we have 927 words, and that would be each or per day. So every day she texts an average of 927 words each day. How many words does she text in 1 year? So there's our math job. Let's circle that. So we have to figure out how many words she texts in 1 year. Okay, so this is clearly a multiplication problem, and the directions stated that we should use the distributive grid method. And let's take a look at how we could set that up. Well, we know that she texts an average of 927 words per day. So let's start off with that. We've got 927, and that's per day. Each day, that's how many words she texts. Now we have to think about how many days are in 1 year. So you're probably thinking 365. So good for you. So we're going to multiply that. And in this case, we're going to use the distributive grid method. So let's set up our grid for this problem. We have a 3-digit number multiplied by a 3-digit number. So you're going to set up a 3 by 3 grid. So here we go. I mean, that's the true indicator in these problems. You could have if it was a 3 by 2, your grid would be a 3 by 2 grid. And in this case, we have a 3 by 3. So I'm going to take a look at dividing this up. So it's kind of like you can see a tic-tac-toe board developing here. So that's kind of what a 3 by 3 grid looks like. So now we're going to take apart this number. We have 927, and we'll look at, well, the 9 in the hundreds place. That would be worth 900. And then in the tens place we have 2, so 2 tens would be 20. And then we have 7 ones. Okay, so we've broken this down. We've distributed the values of the digits, and now we'll take a look at the lower number here. We've got 365, and again, we'll start here. We've got 3 in the hundreds place, so you're probably thinking that would be 300. Good for you. And then, let me just close off that 0 so it doesn't look like a 6. There it is. And now we've got a 6 in the tens place, so that would be 6 tens, or 60. And then we have the 5 in the ones place, and we'll show that as 5. 5 ones, that makes sense, it's 5. So now we can multiply. I'm going to be taking this 300, and then I'm going to multiply it by the 7, then by 20, and then by 900. So let's start here. So 300 times 7. So 300 times 7, and the product will go in this box here, the distributive grid method. So we've got You could write that over on the side. It's always a good idea to show your work, kind of proves you know what you're doing. So we have 300 times 7. And we can take a look and think, okay, our basic fact is 3 times 7. And that would give us, you're probably thinking, 21. Good for you. And then we tack on those 2 zeros that we had here. There's one, there's another. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Drop the comma right in there. We've got 2,100. Now, I'm going to take a minute and move this over a little bit. Oops. Back that up. There we go. Move this over just a touch. Okay. Then we're going to take this product and enter it right into our grid. So that would be 2,100. Then 300 times 20. So again, we're dealing with that 300. This case times 20. And that would equal, let's look at our basic fact, 3 times 2. 3 times 2 would be 6. And we're going to tack on these 3 zeros behind there, giving us a product of 6,000. There it is. Then we're going to multiply, after we put our 6,000 in the grid, 3,000 times 9. I'm sorry, 300 times 900. And we can look at the basic fact there. We've got 3 times 9 equals 27. And then we're going to tack on our zeros. We have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 from the decimal point. We'll drop our comma in there. And now we'll move on after we input our 270,000 right into our grid. And now we're going to be working with this 60. Okay, so now we're thinking, okay, 60 times 7. That would be, let's see, 60 times 7 equals, basic fact of 6 times 7 is 42. And we'll tack on that 0. So 420. I mean, I'm using this little shortcut that we've learned in previous videos. However, you could do this any way you please. You can use lattice, traditional method of multiplying that. But anyways, here we go. We've got 6 times 7 was 420. That was 60 times 7. Now we've got 60 times 20. Basic fact of 6 times 2 would be 12. Tack on these zeros. Since we're really multiplying by 6 tens and 2 tens, and we can tack on those zeros. And it kind of makes sense. Then we'll input that into the grid and move on. We've got 60 times 900 this time. Still working with that 60. I think we'll give ourselves some more space to work with. So we've got, again, let me move that up so we can read it. 60 times 900 equals 9 times 6, or 6 times 9 equals 54. If you're thinking that, good for you. Since we're dealing with 6 tens and 9 hundreds, we can tack on those zeros, 3 of them, and we've got 54,000. Input that in there. We've got 54,000. And we're left with this 5. We'll multiply 5 times 7. You're probably thinking, you know, that's basic fact. Good for you. 35. 5 times 20. Probably getting the hang of this. So we got, 20 times 5. You might know that one too. It's like having 20. Let me just back that up. 20 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10. And since we're dealing with a 20, we'll tack on that extra 0 there. We've got 5 times 20 equals 100. It's kind of like having 20 nickels would equal $1. Then we're going to move on. We'll have 5 times 900. So we've got 900 times 5 equals basic fact of 9 times 5 is 45. Tack on the 2 zeros, giving us 4,500. And with the distributive grid, we've got to kind of put it all back together now. So we'll add up all these numbers and see what we get as our total or our sum. So here we go. Let's change ink colors. There we go. All right, so we'll line them up. We have to line up by place. 270,000. All right, plus 6,000. 2,100. 54,000. Plus 1,200. You can see how these places are all lined up. Oops. 1,200. Plus 420. Plus 4,500. Plus 100. Plus 35. All right, we'll add that up and see what we get. Zeros all the way down until we reach that 5. So we'd have 5. Then we have zeros. We got 2 plus 3 is 5. And we have 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. Carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 plus 4 is 18. Now we'll add 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13, and we'll bring up that 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So now we'll do hip, hop, drop right there, drop that comma right there, and we have a total of 338,355 words that Tabitha texts in 1 year. So that would be 338,355 words. So we can put that in a sentence. Here we go. Tabitha texts 338,355 words per year, or in 1 year. There you go. That's the answer to the first problem. Make sure we solved our math job. Let's go check out that problem again. How many words does she text in 1 year? Did we answer that question? Well, absolutely we did. There are quite a number of steps, but we did it. And let's move on to question number 2. Here's question number 2. Christopher uses 395 building bricks for each level of his tower. His tower has 98 levels. What is the total number of building bricks in his tower? So let's figure out what our math job is. All right, so we've got what is the total number of building bricks in his tower. Okay, now we'll go back up and look for some math clues. Christopher uses 395. Oh, there's a number we can use. Building bricks, that's probably our label for each. And there's our word each. Okay, each level. So he uses 395 building bricks for each level. And the second part of the problem tells us some valuable information. His tower has 98 levels. And what is the total number of building bricks in his tower? Well, you're probably thinking 395 bricks per level, and there are 98 levels. So that tells us that we need to multiply, and we'll set up our distributive grid. And it's a 3 by 2-digit problem, so you're probably thinking that would be a 3 by 2 grid. Kind of clean that up a little bit. Okay, so we've got to leave space for 3-digit by 2 digits. Got a little wavy there. Okay, so here we go. Let's try that again. 3-digit by 2-digit. There we go. And we'll just kind of break our numbers down to distribute the values. Up top, we've got 3 in the hundreds place, so that would be worth 3 times 100, or 300. We got a 9 in the tens place, that's 9 times 10, or 90. And we have 5 ones, or 5. Now in our second number that we're working with, our second factor, okay, now in this case we've got a 9 in the tens place, that would equal 90. And an 8 in the ones place, that would be 8 times 1, or 8. So now we can multiply. We've got 90 times 5. Basic fact, 9 times 5 is 45. Tack on that 0 because we're multiplying by 9 tens. And we've got the first one taken care of, so we'll put that in there, 450. And we have 90 times 90. Basic fact right there. Knowing your basic fact sure helps you with this method. So 9 times 9, you're probably thinking it's 81. Good for you. And we'll tack on those 2 zeros, giving us 8,100. Enter that into our grid. If I'm moving too quickly for you, feel free to pause the video and write it down. Or then again, if you're solving this by yourself, you can pause it, solve the rest by yourself, and then check it later. We've got 90 times 300. I like to put the bigger values up front. So 90 times 300, or 300 times 90. It will give you the same product. There's the commutative property. So anyhow, we've got 300 times 90. 3 times 9 would be 27. Tack on our 1, 2, 3 zeros because we're multiplying by 300s and 9 tenths. So there we go. 27,000. Put that right in there. 8 times 5 would be 40, basic fact. 8 times 90. Oh, we can write it the other way. 8 times 90. 8 times 9 is 72. And we'll tack on that 1 0, giving us 720. Then we'll multiply, last of all, we've got 8 times 300. 8 times 3 is 24. Tack on the 2 zeros, giving us 2,400. I like to put those decimal points in there. It's good practice to know that the decimal point is always located to the right of the ones place. Anyhow, we'll put that right into our distributive grid. You can also see how we distributed this 8. We did 8 times 5 was 40. Then we distributed the 8 times 90. We got 720. And again, we distributed the 8 times 300, and that was 2,400. So now we're on to our last step, and we're going to add up all those values. So let's do that now. We've got 27,000. I want to line up these by place. We need to do that anytime we add or subtract numbers. That was, oops, I made a mistake there. It's all right to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. That's how we learn. So fix that mistake, kind of learn from it, and move on. Okay, so we've taken care of this 27,000. Now we're going to working on this 8,100. There we go. Got that one. 450 I'll put in there. 450. So we're lining up the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So now we're going to put in our 2,400. And our decimal points would be here. 720. And then last of all, 40. And we'll add those up. Zeros all the way down. Got 0. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 4 equals 11. We'll carry up this 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. And 10 plus 7 would be 17. Carry the 1. 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 17, 18. Carry the 1. We got 2 plus 1 is 3. Giving us, hip, hop, drop, our comma right there, 38,710. So now how would that answer our question? Let's see. What is the total number of building bricks in his tower? Well, we multiplied the 395 bricks for each level, and there were 98 levels, so that's 395 times 98, and we used our distributive grid method to come up with a total of 38,710. So what is the total number? Okay, let's put that in a sentence. There are 38,710. That is a comma there. Bricks, or building bricks, in Christopher's tower. And there you have it. We use the distributive grid method to solve these two problems on the worksheet that you can print out from worksheetsandwalkthroughs.com. So thanks for checking out worksheetsandwalkthroughs.com, and we will see you again next time.